Hello, my fellow readers. My name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky. I just recently hit my 6-month anniversary here on BookTube, and I thought I would share for my 6-month anniversary 6 things I have learned since starting a BookTube channel. Number 1, it's all about the community. Before I started my channel, I was watching a lot of BookTube content. I had been interacting with different reviewers, different channel owners, and I had some sense of community because of that. Although after I joined BookTube, it just expanded. So not only was I still communicating with various owners of channels, other reviewers and commenters, but I was also starting to draw people into my own comment section who I hadn't come across before, or who I had never, if we were in the same comment section of someone else's videos, I never interacted with them. And I have met a lot of people through the comments, as well as meeting all the other wonderful BookTube creators. I knew there would be community. I knew there was community. I just didn't realize how big and important the community was, and how the BookTube community would embrace me. And I would get subscribers, I would get invited to do live chats, I would get invited to co-host events. I did not expect any of that to happen. So that's the first thing I learned. Community, it matters. Number 2, I'm doing a lot more reading. I kind of thought I would. I have set goals of number of books to read. I never took the goal tremendously seriously. If I hit it, great. If I didn't, great. And I had, over the last few years, set a goal of 52, a book per week. So 52 for a year. I was coming pretty close to that the last couple, 3 years. Maybe a little over, maybe a little under, but in that 40 to 60 book range. Now that I'm on BookTube, and I think partly it's because of community and part of wanting to be able to share what I've read and having an audience that I know will appreciate what I've read, my reading has really kicked up a notch. I am never going to be one of these people who reads 300, 400 books a year. But I could be 100 books a year, and that would be really fantastic. And if I don't get there, that's all right. But I set my goal for 2025, 52 books, a book a week, and I've already reached that. I have already read 52 books in this calendar year, so I'm on pace for, 85 or something. That's great. It just shows that I am getting more reading done. And part of that is the reward that I get, not just a personal reward of enjoying a book, but being able to talk about it, discuss it, argue about it if needed with this fantastic community. Number 3, my critical thinking skills have improved. I think that before I was reading mostly for entertainment. I certainly have always read nonfiction to gain information and to understand the past and the present, to understand the natural world, to understand how humanity has thought and behaved over the centuries, millennia. But I just would take it in, absorb it, collect it in my head. And now that not only do I talk about a book that I've read, but I want to be able to explain, did I like it or not, and why? That's the most important thing. To be able to tell other people why I liked it or didn't like it, why I would rank one book higher on my favorites list than another, what the shortcomings, if any, were, so that I can help people who might find this book interesting, have a reason to read it, or to make it a little lower priority on their list. And that makes me think more about the books themselves, about the themes, about the interaction between books, the shared themes, the differences, comparing, contrasting. I'm just thinking a lot more, not just about the plot or the feeling that it gives me at the end of the book. Oh yeah, I really liked that book. It made me happy. I'm glad I read it. But why am I glad I read it? And that's been good for me too, to understand why are my tastes what they are. So that's been good for me. And I think it's been good for my audience as well, to understand why I like or don't like any particular book. Number 4, it's helped me with my presentation skills. I have just really built my presentation skills. I still do ahs and ums and all those things that you aren't supposed to do. But I think that I'm better focused, and I recognize when I'm not. And then add to that just the videography skills, the editing skills. I think I've put together some pretty reasonable presentations. My first ones weren't very good, and I knew they wouldn't be. And as I've progressed and done multiple videos a week, I've gotten better. And I'm happy about that. Number 5, it's helped me to rethink my goals or objectives or targets or intentions or plans or whatever words you want to use. I have tried to, when I've made goals in the past, tried to quantify them so that, 52 books read in a year. It gives me a year-to-year comparison. And I like having that number. And I've always seen it really as a target, as an objective, something that I would like to do, but not essential to my life, essential to my core being. And I think that my goals will still stay there, but I am looking now at expanding rather than just a number of books to read or really generic ideas of, I'd like to read more crime fiction this year. I would like to read more classic science fiction. I would like to reread those classics from the 19th century that I haven't touched in a while. I didn't really quantify those. I just set some intentions. Sometimes I did it, sometimes I didn't. In fact, I talked about some goals early on in my first few BookTube videos, and I abandoned them because they just weren't. I was putting out a goal or a target just to have one, not because it mattered. So now I'm thinking about goals that matter, and I will probably do them annually. And so as we get closer to 2026, I'm sure I will have a number of books to read, and it will probably be based on whatever I finish reading this year. But I may have a percentage, say, of I want to read 20% nonfiction. I don't know. I'm making this up right now. These are not my real goals. I may say I want to reread, but I want to limit my rereads, maybe just to 10% of my total. I don't even know if I could do that if I wanted to. But with BookTube now, there are some other things I can think about, and I can set at least some targets and some objectives that help contribute to the BookTube community. It took me a long time to do my first tag, and I didn't do it on a Tuesday because I was recalcitrant. And now I try to do a tag every Tuesday. I'm pretty good about it. If I miss, I miss. I don't worry about it. But I really am trying to do Tag Tuesday every Tuesday. I'm also trying to do Poetry Thursday every Thursday, specifically Cowboy Poetry Thursday. I think since April, which was National Poetry Month, I just missed 1 week. And that was okay. And I didn't hold that against me or feel bad about it. So I think I will continue to have those kinds of overall objectives. 3 videos a week or 4 videos a week, a tag on Tuesday, poetry on Thursday. I think in 2026, some of my goals and objectives will focus on the BookTube community itself. So maybe it's writing a tag and putting a tag out there that other people can respond to. Maybe it's continuing to co-host events and maybe adding an event. Maybe it's creating my own event that I host. Maybe I put up my own Discord server. Wow, that'd be something. I don't know what those things would be, but I think that I will have some reading goals, but then also some BookTube posting goals and some extended BookTube community goals or objectives or plans or targets or intentions. However I decide to phrase that when it comes time to put pen to paper, as it were. And number 6, this is part of what I had in mind anyway, but it's just been reinforced. Publish whatever videos you want to publish. I tell that to myself. I am going to publish the videos I want to publish. If there's anyone else doing regular readings of cowboy poetry, I don't know who they are or where they are in the entire YouTube space. So I'm doing it, and the view count is fairly small for those. All my view counts are pretty small, but poetry views are even smaller. But the people who watch it are more dedicated to watching, listening, commenting, telling me what they liked and didn't like. And I find that really inspiring to me. And so I'm not going to stop doing that. And I don't care. That's what I want to publish. Same with I want to publish about what I read. I don't tell you about every book I've read because some of them I just think some of them are just silly books that I read purely for fun, and I don't really need to talk about them because I don't care enough to talk about them, and I don't think you'd care enough to listen to me not care about talking about them. And then I read all these crazy genres, westerns, old private eye fiction, history, obscure history about the American West in particular, natural history, And I tell you about them. And I like telling you about them. And I like thinking about them and why I like them or why I don't, and how the books that I'm reading fit together and fit into my larger life experience. I'm sharing a part of me that is very personal and that matters a lot to me, and I'm glad that you join me and take part in that experience. And I will continue to read what I want to read and publish what I want to publish. And that makes me happy. So there we go. There we have it. The 6 things that I've learned through my first 6 months on BookTube. Thank you for watching. The extra big thank you to anybody who watched all the way to the end. I know some of you do. Thank you for subscribing and commenting and doing all of those YouTube things, mostly because it makes me know that there's an audience out there, and I appreciate that. So thank you. And until next time, my name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky.